Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a piece in the Daily Mail by veteran broadcaster Jenni Murray, wherein she is bewailing and bemoaning, and quite rightly too, the ongoing crusade by the NHS to defeminise and to cancel women. It's been going on for some time now. But now they're changing the use of language so that no mention of the word woman or women is acceptable within the ranks of the NHS. And remembering that the NHS is predominantly a female employee organisation. I would suggest somewhere in the region of about 80% of all employees of the NHS are women. So why is this organisation so hell-bent on the cancellation and utter destruction of women? Let's have a look at the article and see what Jenni has to say. So here's the article. Before we get in, I'll just say that Jenni Murray is, like I say, a veteran broadcaster. She's getting on a bit now, but she's highly respected. She's fought the good fight for women's rights for many, many years. She used to present Women's Hour on Radio 4 and would sometimes have some very, very senior politicians quaking in their boots with her sort of line of forensic questioning about policies or changes to policies or why certain things weren't being addressed. Knows what she's talking about. Highly respected, highly intelligent woman. And so when she speaks, it is a wise man or woman who listens. I have gone through this article, completely agree with her. And again, she's speaking sense. So let's get into it and see what she has to say. Why is the NHS hell-bent on erasing all mention of women, writes Jenni Murray. The most recent figures on the population of the UK say there are more than 67 million of us. 33.94 million are women, 33.15 million are men. And indeed, not only is it traditional that women outlive men, and therefore will have a higher number of men, a higher number of women, rather, generally in the population. But as one gets older, that ratio increases significantly. I believe, and I'm not going to get quoted on this, please don't quote me, but I may be wrong, but I believe more boys are born than girls. But the survival rate of girls is much higher because men go off, young men especially, go off and do stupid things. Yeah, I can attest to that. Anyway, Jenni Murray says she is infuriated that the NHS should adopt a woke policy. She says that this is desexing of language and it's grossly unfair and it is also dangerous. And I completely agree. So now from now on it's her words. So she begins, right, that's it. I am now convinced the world has gone completely mad under the spell of the trans lobby. The activists have convinced themselves, and it would appear the NHS, that gender, the way you present yourself as male or female, is more important than biological sex. That's what you were born with and cannot be changed no matter how you choose to identify. Indeed, and Jenni's right there, sex is immutable. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. What you are is what you are. Now, you can have your ghoulies chopped off. You can put on your frock, grow your hair long, call yourself Shirley. You're still a man. You've still got a prostate, so you'll still be getting the old tickle up the bottom. You are still liable for all the sort of things that men have. There's no getting away from it. Or if it's the other way around and you're a woman and you're born with a womb, you're not born with a womb, you're born with a uterus, you develop a womb when you get pregnant. I understand the difference. But you're born with a uterus. Now, again, you can have a little plastic penis inserted. You can have your boobs cut away. Cut your hair short. Call yourself Steve. Still going to get checked for ovarian cancer, aren't you? Because you're a woman. Anyway. Anyway, she continues. That's not opinion. That's science. A subject with which you'd expect the NHS to be extremely familiar. But no, the main pages on our health services website dealing with ovarian, womb and cervical cancer all suffered exclusively by those of us born with female biology, that is to say, women, make no mention of the words woman or women. The references to these dangerous diseases have been desexed using gender neutral language so that trans men don't feel left out. Yeah, dangerous. And you're pandering to a mentally ill tiny minority. People, it appears, need to be warned of the symptoms and risks of these potentially deadly conditions. Anyone with ovaries can get ovarian cancer, says the NHS, but mostly affects those over 50. No mention of women, see, because only women can get ovarian cancer. I praise the Lord, because it doesn't matter what I do to myself or present to the world or whatever, I will never ever get ovarian cancer. Prostate cancer, completely different thing. Surprise, surprise, she says, it's an entirely different picture if you click onto the cancers that only affect men. Take prostate cancer, for example. Good grief, that part of the NHS site is positively raining men. Most cases develop in men aged 50 or older, it says. So, when you're talking about diseases exclusively affecting women, it's people. But when you're dealing with diseases that exclusively affect men, it's men. So the NHS is bending over backwards to accommodate the mentally ill who want to be ladies, but not giving one iota of a damn of men. They don't care, women. They don't care. They're cancelling women. They're cancelling everything to do with women because it doesn't suit the agenda of the trans lobby. It goes on to say, for reasons not yet understood, prostate cancer is more common in black men and less common in Asian men. Only women, it seems, is perceived as a dirty word. Man is just fine. Let us look at the numbers. The most recent figures on the population of the UK, published in 2020, say there are more than 67 million of us, 33.94 million are women and 33.15 million are men. That means that we women form 50.59% of the population as a whole. We are the majority. So what about the number of trans people in our community? A recent YouGov survey questioned 1,800 people about their understanding of the makeup of British society. How many people, for instance, did they think were transgender? 5% was the conclusion. That is to say that they asked people how many they thought in the population were transgender. People said, I don't know, 5%. The reality lies between 0.3 and 0.7%. Let's call it midway, call it 0.5%. That means that 99.5% of the population are not transgender. So we, the majority, who are proud of us to call ourselves women, because that's what we are, always have been and always will be women, are excluded in favour of the inclusion of a tiny, tiny minority. That the NHS should adopt a whole woke policy thanks to very noisy and aggressive campaigning groups such as Stonewall is not just upsetting and infuriating, it's insulting. It demeans those of us whose health depends on clear advice about the biology that makes us girls and then women. And she's quite right. I also believe, she continues, that it insults those women who have chosen to identify as male. Surely during the transitioning process they are told their female biology has not changed, despite the drugs and hormones they've taken to grow a beard and deepen their voice. They must be aware that they used to be women and girls. No, they must be aware they still are women and girls and still need to follow health advice issued to women because they're women. Identifying as a man does not make it unnecessary to get smear tests or to have a checkup for ovarian cancer if you're suffering bloating and pain. Equally, the trans women must be aware they won't be needing tests for the female cancers, but jolly well need to pay attention to their prostate. I've been saying that for a long time. Not only is this desexing of language grossly unfair, it's also dangerous. It's surprising that no one in Britain appears to have noticed or complained about it until it was pointed out this week by an Australian doctor, Carleen Gribble, a nursing and midwifery professor at Western Sydney University. She's written about the importance of sexed language in birth and childcare, saying, I think the changes to desex language are well intentioned, but we are seeing they are making communications less clear, and when it comes to critical health issues, that has a great potential to place the health and well-being of individuals at risk. That's right. The trans lobby and their insistence on the cancellation of women is putting women, particularly women's health at risk. But they don't care about women's health. All they care about is that men can be called women. That's their only agenda. Cancel women and then redefine the word women to include men. She went on, it's worrying to think it took an Australian to warn us of the risks of changing language in favour of such a tiny minority. Maybe it's fear of cancel culture that's made so many people in and outside the NHS too afraid to speak up. Yes, it is, because these loud-mouthed, obnoxious, mentally ill people will go, oh, you're a phobe, you're an istrophobe. But you're not an istophobe. You're people speaking the truth. The fact is, they are the ones that need cancelling, because they are the ones that are damaging society, damaging the health of individuals, damaging women in general, for their perverted and warped mental belief that people born male are female. They not. They will never be. They were born male, they will live male, they will die male, and it doesn't care what you do to your body. There is some hope. A senior, unnamed government source has been quoted as saying using unclear language is harmful and can prevent people from finding the help they need, and guidance should use clear and commonly understood terms. Men and women, male and female. They're the terms. The source added, all health advice is written carefully, but it would not be right to erase either women or men from the information relating to their biological sex in a sincere attempt to accommodate those who have a different gender identity. And for different gender identity, he means serious mental health issues. Hear, hear, she said. Now let's see some changes to that across the NHS online. I haven't spent my life fighting for the rights of women only to see a sacrifice at the altar of wokedom by our own health service. Quite right. Now, I think Jenni Murray there has spoken, deep truth. She has raised valid points that the cancellation of women can lead to confusion and misunderstanding of various health issues. That, in turn, could lead to very, very severe harm to women. This is a fight that needs to continue. We need to stand up and resist all calls for the cancellation of women. We need to resist all calls for the allowing of men to be called women, because they're not men. And how soon before women's health, and when I say women's health, I don't mean the health of the individual woman. I mean the sort of organisational sort of structure of women's health is itself corrupted so that it becomes women and men's health with no specific boundaries. It's madness. It's absolute madness. It's wrong. It's ethically wrong, I think. It's morally wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually legally wrong. Somebody needs to tell the NHS to stop and to allow women to be women and to address women as women and to not pander to the mentally ill. Anyway, round off there. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notification of future output. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.